Now let's get stuck right into it. If you watch Outsiders on a Sunday morning, and you should, you'll know my next guest, fellow New Yorker, documentary maker, and pot stirrer extraordinaire, Ami Horowitz. Ami, it is great to finally have you here on the U.S. Report. Now, you've been talking to some of your fellow New Yorkers about borders. Let's have a look at what they had to say.
Do you think having borders is racist?
Yeah.
That's fair to say?
Yeah, I think so.
I think a border is racist.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
I'm going to keep walking.
Where's that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
No question about it.
No.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I don't really, there's no need to really expand on that.
Ami, I knew New Yorkers were left-wing, but do they really think borders are racist?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you ask me why I do what I do, is because there's a difference between liberal and leftist. Liberals believe in borders. They may believe we should bring more people in, let more people in, and we could agree or disagree on that. But the left doesn't believe in borders at all. And my goal is for them to say the quiet part out loud to me. They absolutely believe that. And the consequence of that is we've had, listen to this, 3 million people have been caught coming across the border, double that number from last year, which is already a number up from the year before that. By the way, those are the people who were caught. Those are the interactions you've had with border police. That means we don't know how many people haven't been caught and are inside the interior of our country. And why are they doing that? Because we're incentivizing to doing that. I haven't been embedded with the people, the caravans and the people, the migrants, the illegals coming up from Central America and Mexico, and they will tell me, we're coming because we know Biden will eventually let us into the country. Because what we've done is we've taken the common sense policies that the Trump administration had, like the Leave in Mexico program, which is the most common sense legislation you can have on borders I can ever conceive of, which is if you're caught, you stay in Mexico, and then we will process you, and if you're able to get asylum, then you can come in. Before that, and now, I don't think your viewers in Australia understand what the policy was. We would catch you, and instead of sending you back across the border, we would let you stay in the interior of the United States until you were called back. Of course, they ultimately never came back. They would just stay illegally in this country. And then what do we do? We've actually upped the ante. Now, when we've sent them over, actually a great policy is we've been sending the governor of Texas have been busing these people to D.C. and New York, say, you guys deal with them. You know how New York is dealing with these people? We have rented 6,000 hotel rooms, sometimes in 4-star swanky hotels that cost upward of $400 a day. I can't afford to stay in those hotels, James, okay? We are putting them up in some of the nicest hotels in the most expensive real estate in America. That's how we're dealing with this problem. It is absolutely insane.
Well, I mean, Ami, a lot of Australians understand exactly what the Trump policy was because that's what we have done for years when it came to illegal entrants trying to arrive by boat. We put them offshore and then we dealt with them, and if their asylum claim was accepted, we brought them in, and it made sense. But that mayor in New York, Eric Adams, who is absolutely a leftist, he talks a big game about open borders, but now I hear that he's complaining and he's now in an open feud with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who you talked about before, who's sending all of the migrants north. What's going on? Is he just a huge hypocrite?
It is so funny when they say, hey guys, why should we stop people from coming into this country? And then we send him to New York, then he freaks out, right? Then he goes, whoa, 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 what are you guys doing? You're exploiting these people. No, you're exploiting these people, Eric Adams and the Democratic Party, because you're encouraging them to come to this country because you think that they're ultimately going to vote for your policy. By the way, the joke's on them, because in the last 25 years, the biggest geopolitical mistake I think maybe ever made by the Democratic Party was allowing this immigration into this country, because now we're seeing that Chicanos are actually voting conservative over time. yeah, the first generation will vote Democrat because they want the free stuff. They want the free goodies. But over time, the Hispanics are a conservative people, and they understand what the Republicans are bringing to the table. And now we're seeing a significant switch among their population to vote conservative. So it was a massive mistake. But yes, they have been doing it for cynical reasons. And by the way, they're complaining about the long 30-hour drive. It's inhumane from Texas to New York in an air-conditioned bus. What about the humanity of incentivizing these people to go through the most dangerous territory in the world to walk thousands of miles to get to America? Why don't you worry about that? Where's your righteous self-indignation when it comes to that?
You're exactly right, but I want to move on to Hunter Biden, who's another one of our favorite topics here on the U.S. Report. And there was a report this week that a whistleblower said that the FBI deliberately protected him and said, we're not going to change the outcome of the election. Well, I mean, I guess 4 years late is, good to see them start to break that old habit, hey?
Yeah, it's so funny. It's not like, look, had they gotten the laptop a few days before the election, I understand they want to do due diligence, they want to figure this out, I get it. But they had possession of this laptop a year before the election. They slow-walked this for an entire year. Now, the problem we have among the many problems we have in our country is the weaponization of state organs of this country. And that is what has eroded trust between Republicans and the government and the state. Because what Democrats have done, by the way, this is not the first time, Obama weaponized the FBI to go after journalists, right? Remember they're talking about how Donald Trump doesn't care about free speech and journalism? Well, he weaponized the FBI to go after the Fox News and James Rosen because he didn't like his policies. They used the IRS to go after conservative organizations who had charitable status. I mean, this is a long history of Democrats weaponizing organs of state to go after conservatives, and they look at us and go, why don't you trust us? Look, I was raised to trust the FBI. I was raised to look at them as people we admire and people we look up to. But and by the way, I don't want to get into this heat now, but I've had personal dealings with the FBI which have eroded my personal trust in what they're up to. Maybe one day I'll explain it to you guys. So I've seen it firsthand. When they talk about the deep state, that's what they're referring to. They're referring to an unelectable, unaccountable people in the government, the FBI, the State Department, the DOJ, who have a particular political agenda, and they will shape their policy in order to accomplish and to further their political agenda. That is the deep state, and that's what you saw firsthand with this Hunter Biden slow walking of his laptop.